Every so often, a machine arrives that challenges how we think about speed, sound, and engineering itself. It is not about luxury or comfort. It is about the pursuit of mechanical perfection, a kind of obsession that burns brightly and briefly. When a company dares to build something so focused, so purpose-built, it often ends up creating a legend that few remember but those who do never forget. This story is about one of those machines. A creation that turned conventional design on its head, aiming to squeeze every ounce of performance from an engine no larger than a soda bottle. What happened next would define the limits of innovation in a changing era of performance technology, when regulations tightened and ideals collided with reality. Before we dive into the rise and quiet fall of this forgotten marvel, take a moment to like this video, subscribe for more deep dive stories into rare and radical machines, and let us know in the comments which bike or car you want covered next. In 1984, Kawasaki introduced the KR250, a motorcycle that seemed less like a product and more like a statement. It arrived at a time when two-stroke engineering was reaching its technical peak. Compact, ferocious, and utterly addictive for riders who understood the balance between precision and chaos. The KR250 was built around a concept so unusual that even seasoned racers paused to take notice. Instead of a traditional parallel twin, Kawasaki engineered what it called a tandem-twin layout, essentially stacking two single-cylinder engines one behind the other. Each had its own crankshaft, synchronized through gears to deliver perfect primary balance and a linear power surge unlike anything on the street. For 1984, this was pure mechanical artistry. The Kawasaki KR250 existed in a transitional era, when performance was still measured by instinct and mechanical courage rather than electronics and regulations. On paper, it was a middleweight sport bike. In spirit, it was a descendant of Kawasaki's race-bred KR250 Grand Prix machine, the same lineage that had conquered the track with staggering precision. The road-going KR250 carried that DNA but translated it for riders who wanted something exotic, responsive, and compact enough to feel like an extension of their body. Its engine displaced just under 250 cubic centimeters, yet it could spin beyond 12,000 revolutions per minute, screaming through its narrow power band with a crisp urgency that defined the two-stroke era. Riders who mastered it described the sensation as a perfect storm between balance and bravery. Yet, despite its brilliance, the Kawasaki KR250 never found the following it deserved. That was partly because it was misunderstood. The tandem-twin configuration was not only unique, it was complicated. Servicing it required familiarity few mechanics had. Tuning both crankshafts for synchronization was an art that demanded patience, precision tools, and a sense of mechanical empathy rarely found outside the paddock. This was not a machine for the casual commuter. The KR250 was a racer's idea of a street bike, and that made it a niche product in a market that was already shifting towards smoother, simpler, and more practical machines. For Kawasaki, it was an audacious move. The company's engineers had spent years refining the tandem-twin concept from their Grand Prix experience, and they believed it could dominate the quarter-liter class. The logic was sound. Two cranks meant perfect balance, less vibration, and the ability to package the cylinders in line with the bike's center axis. The result was razor-sharp handling and a compact frame. It was engineering elegance wrapped in racing intent. But while the performance was thrilling, the learning curve was steep. The power band came alive in a narrow slice of the rev range. Below that, the bike felt tame, almost sluggish. Then, like a switch, it surged forward with startling force. Riders who knew how to keep it in the zone found magic. Those who did not found frustration. It demanded attention, finesse, and constant interaction. In a way, that was its charm. In another, it was its downfall. The mid-1980s motorcycle world was evolving quickly. Manufacturers were experimenting with new technologies. Liquid cooling, variable exhausts, and advanced suspension setups. But they were also under pressure from tightening emissions laws and shifting consumer expectations. The KR250's two-stroke engine, though efficient for its size, was already facing a regulatory storm. For riders in markets like Japan and Europe, the restrictions on noise and exhaust emissions began to make high-strung two-strokes less practical and harder to justify. Kawasaki's engineers had pushed the limits of what a small displacement engine could do. Now they were up against forces far beyond their control. And yet, those who owned a Kawasaki KR250 often describe it as an unforgettable experience. Its acceleration felt alive. Its mechanical rhythm addictive. The whine of the twin cranks harmonizing through expansion chambers gave it a signature soundtrack that no four-stroke could replicate. The chassis was narrow and agile, perfect for carving through mountain roads or technical circuits. Every detail of its design spoke of purpose. Clip-on bars, rear set pegs, aerodynamic fairings drawn straight from the track. It looked like a race bike because it was one at heart. The KR250's rarity today adds to its mystique. Few survived in pristine condition, and fewer still are ridden regularly. Finding parts requires dedication, sourcing knowledge, and often the help of small enthusiast circles scattered around the world. Yet, despite its scarcity, it remains one of the most fascinating symbols of Kawasaki's experimental era. The 1984 KR250 represents a moment when engineering innovation took precedence over mass-market appeal, when performance was defined by ingenuity rather than marketing. It reminds us that progress in motorcycling has always depended on risk-takers willing to challenge convention. In every sense, the Kawasaki KR250 was such a challenge. It just arrived at a time when the world was beginning to prefer predictability over passion. The design's brilliance, though, remains undeniable. With its unique layout, it managed to achieve near-perfect mass centralization and balance. The frame, a lightweight steel tube construction, allowed it to corner with surgical precision. The fairing, shaped by aerodynamic study, was both sleek and functional, minimizing drag while channeling airflow to keep the engine cool under high stress. It was a machine that rewarded understanding. For those who learned its rhythm, the KR250 became a teacher in dynamics and discipline, revealing the beauty of a two-stroke simplicity paired with mechanical ingenuity. It was the kind of motorcycle that invited you to listen to the revs, the gear changes, the delicate cues that told you when it was in its element. Those who rode it often say it changed the way they felt about engineering itself, as if they were riding an idea rather than a product. In that sense, the KR250 is more than a motorcycle. It is a time capsule of what performance once meant. In the years that followed, the world moved toward cleaner, quieter, and more manageable machines. But the memory of the 1984 Kawasaki KR250 endures as proof that sometimes the most daring ideas are the ones that burn brightest, even if briefly. By 1984, Kawasaki's KR250 was more than a motorcycle. It was a distillation of racing philosophy adapted for the road. To appreciate what made it extraordinary, we have to look at the decisions behind its creation and the obstacles that followed. The Tandem-Twin engine, the centerpiece of the Kawasaki KR250, was a direct descendant of the company's Grand Prix race program. In racing, this configuration had proven incredibly effective, allowing engineers to reduce engine width while maintaining balance and power output. On the track, less frontal area meant higher top speeds and improved aerodynamics. Transplanting that idea into a production bike was bold, but Kawasaki believed enthusiasts would embrace it as a taste of factory engineering. The KR250's architecture was meticulously planned. Each crankshaft drove its own piston, linked by a gear system that synchronized rotation. The result was an engine with excellent mechanical balance and minimal vibration, which allowed it to rev higher and deliver smoother power. Air and fuel flow were optimized through reed valves and expansion chambers tuned for maximum scavenging efficiency. The system produced around 45 horsepower, remarkable for a 250 cubic centimeters machine of its era. In context, this placed the KR250 among the fastest quarter-liter motorcycles available. Yet, the complexity of its internals was daunting. Mechanics accustomed to conventional twins found themselves studying diagrams just to perform basic maintenance. The ignition timing had to be precise for both crankshafts. Even a small deviation could affect performance dramatically. The gearbox, a close-ratio 6-speed, demanded constant engagement to stay in the power band. This was a machine that thrived on momentum and rhythm, and any lapse was immediately felt by the rider. For Kawasaki, that was part of its identity. The KR250 was designed to appeal to purists who valued engineering over convenience. However, the global motorcycle market of the mid-1980s was shifting toward accessibility and practicality. Riders were demanding smoother torque delivery, lower maintenance, and improved reliability. Four-stroke engines, though heavier, were improving rapidly thanks to advances in combustion efficiency and materials. They offered a quieter, cleaner experience with fewer mechanical quirks. In comparison, the two-stroke KR250 seemed unruly, high maintenance, and increasingly out of step with the direction of the industry. The changing regulations compounded the problem. Environmental restrictions, particularly on exhaust emissions, began tightening in markets like Japan and Europe. Two-strokes, by design, allowed a portion of unburned fuel to escape during the exhaust cycle, leading to higher hydrocarbon emissions. Even though the KR250 was efficient for its type, it could not meet the upcoming standards without significant redesign. Kawasaki faced a difficult decision: continue refining the Tandem-Twin concept for a market that was shrinking or pivot toward the emerging four-stroke future. History shows they chose the latter. This pivot marked a turning point. While Kawasaki's later sport bikes would build reputations on brute power and innovation, none would revisit the Tandem-Twin concept. That makes the 1984 KR250 a one-off in spirit. A technological experiment that bridged the past and the future. Understanding how it performed reveals why it still holds a unique place in motorcycle history. In terms of handling, the Kawasaki KR250 was exceptional. Its slim chassis allowed quick transitions, and the central alignment of its engine provided ideal mass distribution. With a dry weight around 300 pounds, it responded instantly to rider input. Cornering felt intuitive. The bike could hold lines that larger, heavier machines struggled to maintain. Suspension setup was simple but effective. Telescopic forks up front and a monoshock rear system tuned for balance between agility and stability. The brakes, twin discs at the front and a single at the rear, provided ample stopping power for its size. All these factors combined to create a machine that excelled on tight, technical roads and short circuits. The riding experience, though, was demanding. To unlock the Kawasaki KR250's performance, a rider had to keep the engine spinning near its peak. Below 7,000 revolutions per minute, power delivery was gentle, almost docile. Beyond that threshold, the Tandem-Twin unleashed its potential in a sudden, exhilarating rush. It was addictive yet challenging, a constant test of coordination and throttle control. Every ride felt like a lesson in mechanical harmony. That demanding nature was both its appeal and its barrier to wider success. For enthusiasts, the KR250 was a precision tool, something to master rather than simply use. For casual riders, it was intimidating. In an era where manufacturers were simplifying the sport bike experience, Kawasaki had delivered something unapologetically complex. Yet it was precisely that complexity that made it so beloved among purists. Even today, restoration specialists describe the KR250 as a machine that rewards patience and understanding. Its internals are a showcase of meticulous Japanese engineering. Each crankcase is machined to tight tolerances. The synchronization gears are hardened for durability. Even the cooling system, with its carefully routed hoses and radiators, was optimized to handle extended high RPM operation. The attention to detail was extraordinary for a mid-displacement motorcycle. The Tandem-Twin layout also influenced the KR250's aesthetics. Its narrow profile gave it a distinct silhouette, different from any other sport bike of its generation. The fairing design was inspired by Kawasaki's GP racers, emphasizing airflow efficiency and a tucked riding position. From certain angles, the bike looked smaller than its capacity suggested, yet its stance communicated speed and intent. In motion, it was mesmerizing, light, responsive, and utterly mechanical in character. While the KR250 was built primarily for Japan, limited numbers reached markets like Australia and select regions in Europe. Riders lucky enough to experience it often describe an immediate sense of connection, a purity that came from mechanical feedback and the absence of electronic aids. In a world now dominated by ride-by-wire systems and adjustable modes, that analog directness feels almost sacred. The 1984 Kawasaki KR250 captured the final breath of an era defined by tactile performance, before technology began filtering the rider's experience. Its story reflects a broader truth about innovation. Brilliance does not always guarantee success. Sometimes the most advanced ideas arrive before the world is ready to embrace them. The KR250's combination of twin cranks, narrow chassis, and focused performance was simply too far ahead of its time. But that same boldness cemented its reputation as one of Kawasaki's most fascinating creations, a benchmark of what engineering ambition could achieve when limitations were secondary to vision. Even now, nearly 4 decades later, the lessons it offers remain relevant to designers and riders alike. The 1984 Kawasaki KR250 stands today as an emblem of engineering courage, and to grasp its lasting importance, we have to consider what followed. When the Tandem-Twin experiment concluded, Kawasaki did not abandon performance. It redirected it. The KR250 became a technical reference point, influencing how engineers approached compact powertrains and balance in later models. The design lessons learned from synchronizing two crankshafts informed future efforts to reduce vibration and optimize engine packaging. While those later bikes were four-strokes, they carried a trace of the KR250's DNA in how they managed mass and responsiveness. Riders who experienced the Kawasaki KR250 often became lifelong advocates of two-stroke precision. Many describe it not as a product, but as an event, a moment when they understood what unfiltered power delivery felt like. The Tandem-Twin's harmony between revs and motion had an almost musical quality, something modern machines rarely replicate. Its sound was not just exhaust noise. It was a mechanical symphony of synchronized gears and chambers. That identity helped solidify the KR250's cult status, even as it disappeared from showrooms. Over the years, collectors have elevated the Kawasaki KR250 from obscurity to near-mythic status. Restorations are pursued with the dedication normally reserved for race bikes. Every gasket, gear, and chamber tells a story about an era when boundaries were meant to be pushed. The scarcity of parts has only deepened its mystique, forcing enthusiasts to become curators of mechanical history. Forums and small online communities share knowledge to keep these machines alive, often fabricating components from scratch. Owning one is not about convenience. It is about commitment. The Kawasaki KR250 rewards that commitment with an experience unlike any other. Its responsiveness, its lightness, and its pure feedback make every ride an intimate conversation with the machine. It has no electronic filters, no digital buffers. The rider is the control system, and that intimacy is precisely what modern motorcycling often lacks. Even those who never ride one recognize the KR250 as a symbol of an engineering mindset that valued authenticity over compliance. The legacy of the 1984 Kawasaki KR250 also extends beyond motorcycles. Its design philosophy, packaging complexity into elegant solutions, influenced small engine design in other industries, from compact sports equipment to specialized power tools. The same tandem principle, balancing opposing forces for stability, found applications far removed from racing. In that sense, the KR250's spirit lives on wherever mechanical balance and precision matter. It is remarkable that a limited production motorcycle could have such reach. Within the history of Kawasaki, the KR250 occupies a unique space. Not the most powerful, not the most famous, but perhaps the most daring. It reminds us that innovation does not always lead to commercial success, yet it always advances understanding. Without projects like the KR250, the path to modern sport bike evolution would look very different. The lessons it taught about mass distribution, vibration control, and aerodynamic efficiency influenced design language for years afterward. For riders, though, the real significance lies in how it feels. The Kawasaki KR250 teaches that performance is as much about harmony as it is about numbers. When the Tandem-Twin reaches its rhythm, the sensation is not raw aggression but balance. Two cranks spinning in perfect unison, delivering seamless acceleration. It rewards finesse over force, anticipation over reaction. That sense of synergy is why so many who rode it never forgot it. As two-stroke engines faded under regulation, enthusiasts realized that bikes like the KR250 represented a closing chapter in motorcycling sensory history. It was the last gasp of an age when small displacement did not mean compromise, when lightness and simplicity defined performance. The nostalgia surrounding the KR250 is not just for its sound or speed. It is for an era when mechanical intimacy defined the bond between rider and machine. The 1984 Kawasaki KR250 stands as a time capsule of that philosophy. Even parked and silent, it captures the imagination. Every component, its twin cranks, its angular bodywork, its minimal frame, tells of a time when engineers built machines for the joy of solving impossible problems. To ride it today is to glimpse what performance once meant before computers and compliance curves took center stage. In that way, its legacy endures not through volume or fame, but through resonance, a whisper from a period when passion drove progress and risk was part of the reward. The 1984 Kawasaki KR250 closes its story as one of the most distinctive engineering statements of its time. It was never designed to please everyone. It was designed to prove what was possible. In a world that was shifting toward mass production and simplicity, Kawasaki's decision to build a road bike with a tandem-twin engine was audacious. That choice set the KR250 apart not only in performance but also in spirit. Its legacy is not measured by sales or trophies but by the lasting impression it left on those who experienced it firsthand. The KR250 represented the end of a particular kind of engineering philosophy, one where ambition outweighed practicality. By merging Grand Prix design with street usability, Kawasaki created something that balanced artistry with function. The tandem-twin layout, with its dual crankshafts and compact symmetry, remains a marvel of mechanical creativity. Even decades later, engineers and enthusiasts look back on the KR250 as a masterclass in packaging efficiency and mechanical purity. In retrospect, it also foreshadowed the challenges that would redefine the motorcycle industry. As emission standards tightened and consumer demands shifted toward versatility, machines like the KR250 became casualties of progress. Yet the qualities that once limited it, its sharpness, its complexity, its unapologetic focus, are exactly what make it so revered now. It stands as proof that innovation often comes from daring to ignore convention. Every part of the 1984 Kawasaki KR250, from its distinctive exhaust tone to its razor-thin frame, embodies a philosophy of purposeful design. It was never about comfort or convenience. It was about the pursuit of a perfect balance between form and performance. When you see one today, usually tucked in a private collection or displayed at a vintage event, it demands respect not for what it sold but for what it dared to attempt. The KR250's brief production run gave it a rarity that now elevates it to legend. Its engineering remains studied, its design admired, its influence felt far beyond its displacement class. It taught riders and designers alike that true innovation carries risk. Sometimes, that risk defines history more than success does. To appreciate the 1984 Kawasaki KR250 is to understand a pivotal moment in motorcycling. The last great burst of two-stroke ingenuity before a new era began. It reminds us that machines can be more than transportation. They can be expressions of curiosity, courage, and craft. The KR250 was all of that and more. Its twin cranks may have fallen silent, but its echo continues to inspire those who still believe that performance is as much about imagination as it is about speed.